सच्चित् केशवादिनारायण Radhivalochana Radhivalochana Adinarayana Anantashayana Adinarayana Anantashayana Sachidananda Shri Satyanarayana Sachidananda Shri Satyanarayana Atmaya Anandaramaya Atmaya Anandaramaya Vandika Sarana Bhavabhayadharana Vandika Sarana Prabhukula Bhusana Radhivalochana Prabhukula Bhusana Radhivalochana Adinarayana Anantashayana Adinarayana Sachidananda Shri Satyanarayana Sachidananda Shri Satyanarayana Atma Rama Atma Rama Rakhada bazaar mein sabke mange ke Rakhada bazaar mein sabke mange ke Kahon se dosti na kahon se kabira ना कहूँ से जाके न पूछो साधु की पूछ लियो तो ज्ञान जाके न पूछो साधु की पूछ लियो तो ज्ञान करो तलवार का रहन जो ज्ञान कबीरा खड़े रहन जो ज्ञान टूटी कर कर जग गया पंडित भया से तेर खजूर बड़ा हुआ तो क्या चल लागे अति दूर कबीरा चल लागे अति दूर कर तुझे हरि मिले तो मैं तुझ कहा कर तुझे हरि मिले तो मैं तुझ कहा से तो चकी भई जिसे खाए संसार कबीरा जिसे खाए संसार शुक्र ये जग बड़ा शुक्र है सबका शुक्र है ये जग बड़ा है सबका को जो मार दे उसका सखा नाम फकीर कबीरा सखा नाम फकीर किया तो क्यों किया तो क्यों पछताए किया तो क्यों किया तो क्यों पछताए मुश्किल बबूल का हम कहाँ से खाए कबीरा हम कहाँ से खाए अभ्यास से सपनति होत सुजान करत अभ्यास से सपनति होत सुजान सिरस्सी आठ जात से सिर तन पड़े निशान कबीरा सिर पर पड़े निशान मेरा साइया घट नहीं को घट मेरा साइया घट नहीं को को घाट की घट पर घट कोई कबीरा घट पर घट हो घाट निर्मल भयो से गंगानी मन भयो से गंगानी पीछे पीछे हरि कबीर कबीरा जगत कबीर सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै शांति शांति शांति। We will chant verses 45 to 55 of chapter 2, verses 45 to 55 of Bhagavad Gita. त्रैगुण्य विषया वेदाः निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्थः निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान् यावानर्थवुदपाणे सर्वतः सम्प्लुतोदके तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्राह्मणस्य विजानतः कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मा ते संगोऽस्त्वकर्मणि योगस्थः कुरु कर्माणि संगं त्यक्त्वा dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate durena hyavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharamanvichha krupana phalahetavam buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukruta dushkrute tasmad yogaya yujyasva yoga karmasu kaushalam karmajam buddhi yuktahi phalam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchantya namayam yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotasya cha shrutasya cha shruti vitpratipannate yada sthasyati nischala samadhavachala buddhihi tada yogamavapsyasi arjuna uvacha stitha prajnasya kha bhasha samadhistasya keshava stitadhi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim prajahati yada kaman Shri Bhagavan uvacha prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha stita prajnastadocyate. We have been studying the verses 47 and 48, the action, karma, the perfect action, the right action, the technique of action. Karmanye vadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma faraheturbhuhu mate sangosva karmani. The famous, oft quoted, popular in spiritual lobbies, constantly they recite this verse. Your right is in action only, never to the fruits. Ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturbuhu mate sangostva karmani. Let not the fruit of action be your motive, nor let your attachment to inaction, nor your attachment to be to inaction. So, this is one of the most famous, as we discussed in the previous class, commonly quoted. The Krishna advises Arjuna to rise up from inertia and move beyond the desire-prompted actions, selfish actions, and take up action dedicated for higher cause, higher ideal. So, action is the symbol of life. Inaction is death. Anyway, you are helplessly acting. It is best thing is to perform right action, perfect action, action for the self, the Supreme God, as much higher as possible. If you are at the level of family, you can work for the family welfare. If you are at the society, welfare of society, that is your capacity to identify with that higher goal, you can work for the higher goal of the society welfare. Or if you want to work for the Supreme God, the Atman, that is the greatest thing. So, you choose to remain to be idle and inactive, you putrefy and you perish and you destroy yourself. Since you must act, perform right action, first take up small goals of family, society, community, and you destroy. If not, you will destroy yourself. First, take up less goal of all, that is of union with the self. Keep working your way towards your intermediate goal and then on to the ultimate goal of self-realization. Ultimate goal of self-realization. So, just be in the action. Strive to continue to forward, but always concentrate on action at hand. Make it most effective. Do not mar your action by concentration on the success or failure. You should not be affected. You should not be bound by action, your results. So you must learn to choose actions to fulfill your obligations and not merely to gain immediate success or failure. Your business is with your duty only, never with the result, with the reward or the merit accruing from it. Let not the fruit of action entangle you in your actions. So the fruit should not come. Your mind should not deviate from the present action to slip into the past and future. Just be in the struggle, just be in the action. That is your ultimate motive of your life. That is your bounden duty. Work well performed, work for the work's sake, knowing it will eventually take you to your ultimate goal. If your goal is the Supreme Self, just keep working and for the work's sake, and gradually it will take you to the ultimate goal of self-realization. Work well performed, work well accomplished is the joy of life. What is the joy of life? Is work performed well, efficient, productive. Be indifferent towards the outcome of that action. Pleasure or pain will come, joy or sorrow will come, or honor or dishonor come. You don't care about that. You don't bother. You just perform your actions to the best of your ability, which may accrue from your actions. The results are automatic. Your life is enriched by the accomplishment of right action rather than the outward success or failure. Take up your work, work then becomes pleasure. Work then becomes pleasure. Pleasure or happiness both lie in the garb of work. Work itself is pleasure, work itself is joy. Performing the right attitude, the action gives immense happiness. People do not realize the beauty and grandeur of perfect action, right action, real work. They entertain worldly motives to work. They work for some personal benefit, for some immediate benefit, some immediate instant pleasures they work for. They always have a motives. There is a selfish, egoistic, self-centered motives work which spoils the work. So, what is that? Selfish, self-centered actions produce only mental agitations, disturbances, and you will be worried and anxious, stress, depression, strained and your work becomes unproductive because your intellect loses clarity, your mind loses concentration, and you will be not able to be efficient in that work. So drop your anxiety for the fruit of action, drop your selfish attitude to work, work bereft of attachment and anxiety is worship. The prayer, the worship is nothing but action, is the renunciation. A true renunciation is the worship. Why should you have any motives to work? Work itself is most rewarding, most refreshing, most pleasurable, most enjoyable is work itself. So your most entertaining is the work itself. Most blissful, most peaceful is the work itself. There is a greatest happiness in the garb of work performed in the right spirit of renunciation produces the mental peace as well as the beautiful results, final results of your undertaking. You will be reaching success as well as the productive as well as the peaceful just by performing action without any motives, without having any self-centered interests, just for working for the work's sake, for the reaching of the enlightenment, reaching of the ultimate. Work for the Supreme God, work for the selfless action, action dedicated to the ultimate. That is the beautiful, purest, right action you can conceive and execute. This is the greatest verse we have studied thoroughly. We just had a quick recap. Now we will get on to the 48th verse. Chanting 48. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. So in this verse, as we are aware, the topic itself is very crystal clear. Selfless actions lead you to self-realization, God-realization. The happiness which everyone is looking for, the permanent bliss, permanent satisfaction is in selfless, dedicated actions for the highest cause of self-realization. So only actions of selfless quality will be taking you to the highest state of enlightenment. So how to get there? By steadfast in yoga. You must be steadfast in yoga. Yogastha kuru karmani. Perform actions. Kuru karmani. O dhananjaya, winner of wealth. Renouncing attachment and being the same in success and failure. Evenness is called yoga. Samatvam yoga uchyate. So addressing Arjuna as Dhananjaya, winner of wealth, Krishna advises him to be steadfast in yoga, steadfast in union with the Supreme Self, means be consistent in the pursuit of the self. See, everybody takes up the self-realization, self-God realization, but only weekends, only post-retirement pastime, only when there is no preoccupation and there is no interest. So this is not the advice given by Lord Krishna to Arjuna to get on to the enlightenment. You must be steadfast, means consistent, continuous in yoga, to perform actions without being attached to them. No doubt you be consistent, but you should not be attached to action. If you are attached to action, what will happen? Your action becomes impoverished, unproductive, because your mind gets agitated because of expectations. So to treat the success and failure alike. So not attached to action, not attached to the result of action. This advice could help solve the problems facing most people today. Most people today, if not all, attached to actions and attached to the results of action and suffering the stress and strain and worry and anxieties because of these two problems. So they run into problems because they get involved and entangle themselves in the worldly affairs. They are developing clinging attachment to the work and their worldly affairs. And their objects and actions, they are terribly bound and enmeshed. They run after the success and they don't want failure. They wanted to avoid failure, but they wanted to get attached to success. Their minds are tormented between the attachment to the past and hopes and expectations for the future results. So worries of the past failures, anxiety for the results of the future, better hopes. So this is the condition which saps your energy, and you get concerned. Their involvements virtually destroy them because of the stress and strain mounting up. You get blood pressure, blood sugar, and you will be destroying yourself. They suffer from perpetual sorrow. Consistent, continuously, they are agitated because of the lack of understanding of their egocentric attachment to action and hopes for the results of the future. Especially, they want success. They can't take failure. Alike, equal. That is the samatvam yoga uchite. Evenness is yoga. Very interesting. People entrap themselves thus by developing these pairs of opposites resulted by the likes and dislikes within you. You have likes and dislikes, and you born with likes and dislikes, and you nurture and nourish them. You pick up what you like, you discard what you don't like, and your own well-wishers, your own kith and kin, your own parents, your own friends, your own relatives, they further infest, feed you likes and dislikes. They become powerful monsters within you now, dictating your actions. Unfortunately, this is what the happening around you. Once you get married, the destruction is over because you pick up and marry whom you most like, and you also, and she starts feeding further likes and dislikes, and you start feeding her likes and dislikes. By feeding both likes and dislikes, ultimately you dislike each other and depart each other. The spouse and children cater to what you like and discard what you don't like. With the result, these likes and dislikes develop into a powerful engine driving your activities morning, noon and night. Your actions just to follow likes and dislikes, nothing else. These are supported by the people around you. You do what you like and avoid what you don't like. You disregard your obligatory duties and responsibilities because you are following likes and dislikes. You do not understand what is your obligatory duty, means what is your responsibility. What you ought to do in life is most important, which you discard because you are bound and you are shackled and you are operating at the level of likes and dislikes. And then you suffer your world and your own personal development. This approach of life is destroying your mental equilibrium. Why you are not peaceful? Why you are not unhappy? Why are you stressed out? Why are you not in balance? Because of these likes and dislikes, nothing else. Understand how these likes and dislikes slowly destroying you. Krishna shows the way. Lord Krishna rescues and shows us the way to get out of these clutches of these likes and dislikes, which we are suffering because of these likes and dislikes. The pairs of opposite affect you. When the heat and cold, joy and sorrow